To mask or not to mask? That is the question. Dr. Ruth Berggren, infectious disease doctor from the Long School of Medicine at UT Health San Antonio, joins us. As always, thank you, doctor, for taking time out of your busy schedule for us. You know, Memorial Day weekend coming up, likely going to be a lot of vaccinated and unvaccinated people out there. If you're going to a restaurant, church, the courthouse, in a store, a picnic, when should you have your mask on and when should you not have your mask on?
So, you know, we're in a very different place this year than we were last year heading into Memorial Day weekend. We know so much more about the protection of the vaccines. We have such a good chunk of our population that is vaccinated. And we have good news that vaccinated people can really go about unmasked safely in just about any activity. There are some caveats. I'm vaccinated, right? I'm a doctor, but if I'm going to see a COVID infected patient, guess what? I am going to wear a mask. Why is that? It's because I could still be infected. The vaccine is not 100% effective. It's 94 to 95% effective. I could become infected. I will have confidence, though, that I'm not going to become terribly ill and I'm not going to die from COVID. But by and large, vaccinated people get to take off their masks and do what they want to do. Unvaccinated people are just like we've been all along, which is that it's not safe for them to be in crowded indoor public places. It's not even really safe for them to be in crowded outdoor places. Well, let's talk about Memorial Day weekend and the Memorial Day pachangas, backyard festivities that we're known for in San Antonio. If you have a mixed group of people, some are vaccinated, some are unvaccinated, what I would recommend is that, number one, keep it outdoors, because outdoors is so much safer than indoors. Be outdoors, and unvaccinated people should be more careful than the vaccinated people. Vaccinated people do not have to mask. The unvaccinated people should probably mask if they're sitting at a picnic table with a whole bunch of others. If it's a really widely spaced and everybody's far apart and they're staying outdoors the whole time, then it's less important for the unvaccinated people to mask. So I hope that brings some clarity. Now, one issue that keeps coming up again and again and again for me, from friends, from extended family, they don't understand, why, as a vaccinated person, are they being asked to mask when they go into a store or some place of business, courthouse, church, perhaps. Well, remember that there's no external sign that helps us understand who's vaccinated and who's not vaccinated. We all look the same, right? We all look the same, unvaccinated and vaccinated. There's unvaccinated people out there who are vulnerable. And there's a lot of reasons why some people are more vulnerable than others. Let's think about my friend who has had a kidney transplant. That person has a vaccine, but they may not even be all that well protected compared to other people. So now you put that kidney transplant patient in a crowded situation. Some people are vaccinated, some people aren't. That kidney patient has no idea who's vaccinated and who's not vaccinated. How are they feeling? Well, if we want to protect everybody, it would be wise for us to go ahead and normalize masking in our crowded indoor places until we have many more people, a much greater percentage, vaccinated. So I'm in favor that we continue to mask when we go to HEB, mask when we're in crowded indoor places. I strongly encourage people to mask when they go to the courthouse, when they go to church. And that is out of respect for the fact that not everyone is vaccinated. Not everyone can get vaccinated, and some of the vaccinated people, a small minority of vaccinated people, are still vulnerable. I hope that made sense, and please ask me follow-up questions.
Yes, kind of staying on the topic of masks, the governor announced that public schools wouldn't be able to mandate masks as of June 5th, and even though school's coming to an end for a lot of students here in the coming weeks, there is still summer school. So especially for those kids 12 and under who aren't eligible and not yet able to get the vaccine, what recommendations do you have for them or their parents as they're making that call whether or not to go to summer school?
So I think that we're at a very favorable time in our community here in the San Antonio area with very, very low prevalence and a rising percentage of our adult and young adult population that's been vaccinated. So I wouldn't keep a kid out of summer school, but I would recommend that an unvaccinated child go ahead and mask. It doesn't matter that there's not a mask mandate. It doesn't matter that your school cannot enforce a mask mandate. You still have a right to wear a mask. And if you wear a mask, that will allow you to participate in activities more safely. So that's my recommendation. Wear a mask, go to summer school, and get the vaccine as soon as you're eligible for it.
Last question, because we get this, it seems like this is a question I know it's a question we've asked you before, but there's still a lot of people who are buying into this theory that young females should not get vaccinated because it will affect their reproductive organs. Talk about that.
Yeah. Yes, I hear that on a regular basis, and I'm really sorry that that is a myth that took hold in the internet. It's a false myth. And I have several lines of evidence to share with everybody. The first one is to go back to the Pfizer vaccine trial. Out of the tens of thousands of people that were randomized to either get the placebo or the vaccine, everyone was told, don't get pregnant. Well, guess what? 23 people got pregnant by accident. There were 23 accidental pregnancies. If the vaccine caused infertility, you would have expected no pregnancies in the vaccinated group. In point of fact, there was an equal number of pregnancies in the vaccinated and the unvaccinated group. They were exactly the same. That's the first and most powerful line of evidence because it comes from a randomized controlled trial. But in addition, we're well over 1.5 billion people on the planet who have received a COVID vaccine so far, and we are not seeing any impact on fertility. So if that were the case, that it was causing fertility problems, we would have started to see it. Finally, I want everybody to know we're doing COVID vaccine trials in pregnant people. We're doing them right at our own UT Health Science Center with the Pfizer vaccine, and everything that we've seen to date completely reinforces that this vaccine is safe in pregnancy. It's not causing people to lose their pregnancies. And in fact, when pregnant moms get vaccinated, they're transferring their immunity to their newborn babies through their umbilical cord blood and through breastfeeding. So this is all really good and really favors vaccination for moms as well as for young women who hope to be moms someday.
Encouraging news.
Dr. Ruth Berggren, as always, thank you so much for your time.
Have a great holiday weekend.
Thanks, you too.
All right, we'll be right back.